Another healthcare ad that's overrated. Tom says you're losing your touch. The press is underused and not outdated. Killer public relations, marketing, and social media in healthcare requires making the right moves at the right time. Welcome to the Overrated and Underused show. Here's your hosts, experienced marketers Jennings and Testa, with special guest Adrian Stoner. Overrated and underused. The Overrated and Underused show.
All right, so we're back. They didn't kick us off the air after our first episode, so something must have resonated. Welcome to the Overrated and Underused show, where we'll debate what's in and what's not in healthcare marketing. Today, we've got a pretty timely show for our faithful listeners or O&U groupies. Right, Tom?
Right. We got a great show today. I think it's a perfect topic that we're going to discuss, given that we're all busy gearing up for HIMSS. It's pretty top of mind for thousands of companies planning to exhibit. And it's going to be upwards of what? I mean, at HIMSS alone, there's 40,000 attendees. I mean, that makes my head hurt just thinking about that.
Yeah, HIMSS is definitely a huge show for our agency and our clients. Mm-hmm. I mean, between press meetings, pre-show, on-site, post-show, promotional marketing, and social media campaigns, sponsorships, advertising plans, video development, everything in between. It's pretty exhausting, but it's a busy time of the year for sure. I've been going to HIMSS since 2009, so there's a lot of things that I've learned over the decade, one of which is I don't plan any vacations, days off, or even bathroom breaks in January or February. It's all hands on deck time.
Yeah, that's true. We definitely need, it sounds like we could use, and everyone here could use, a Jen's tips for surviving HIMSS.
Another day, another episode for sure.
Right.
But hey, don't leave us in suspense any longer. Like, what's the overrated marketing tactic we're going to debate today?
All right, so today's topic, the first one we're going to talk about is, in terms of overrated, is event giveaways, or a word which I have no idea how to spell, but I can say it, I think, tchotchkes.
Overrated.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like the one word where there's like 1,000 consonants and you need to buy a vowel. So anyway, tchotchkes.
Overrated.
Yeah, it's definitely timely, and obviously we're right before the HIMSS show. That's kind of what we're focused on. But really, any of this insights or advice we're talking about when it comes to event giveaways and tchotchkes.
See?
Yeah.
Easy. Not an easy word.
Yeah. But it can apply to really any of the healthcare trade shows out there, any trade show. So I would just, keep it in mind as you're planning outreach for other spring shows that are coming up or later in the year. But Tom, tell us why you're saying we should throw all of our tchotchkes in the garbage.
Well, when it comes to, giveaways or tchotchkes at events, it's not a matter of tossing them away. I don't even think they should be there to be tossed away. I think do we need another pen to add to our 1,000 pen collection from the shows, or another stress ball? But, we talked about in an earlier episode how marketing budgets are shrinking. Folks really have to be very fiscally responsible when it comes to their marketing budget. And I think that with all the stuff that you need to prep for a show, you've got to prepare a lot of, marketing materials such as data sheets and other collateral for the show. And that costs money. That costs good money to do. Not everyone can prepare that stuff in-house. When it comes down to things like tchotchkes or, these giveaways, again, we joke about it, but, putting your brand on something that may make its way back to the main office, who knows? I kind of feel like a lot of these giveaways, these tchotchkes, they end up left behind a lot of these shows, or in the airport, or, maybe you're giving to your kid when you get home or something like that. But I don't know if that brand recognition really resonates.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like I've always wondered, every company, it seems like they have pens, they have notepads, they have chapstick or hand sanitizer. Even though I love a good hand sanitizer, I will pick those up. But in most cases, I'm not the customer. I'm not the prospect that they're looking for. So they're handing these things out to booth scavengers, people that are just coming by to scoop up free things. And it's not really, you're not driving traffic to your booth by having notepads or little cups. So, to even have a worthwhile giveaway, it costs a company a lot of money. So I think that we're talking about two separate things here, in that, there's the cheaper giveaways that still are a investment because you have to purchase so many for, an event like this. But, pins and all that. So those are very inexpensive, or relatively inexpensive compared to some of the other more useful items like nicer water bottles and phone chargers and those type of things. There's that side of it where people are you just have items laid out on the table in your booth and people that can just swipe them as they come by. But then there's also giveaways you have a larger prize in that you're collecting people's information, you're collecting answers to a survey, you're letting these people enter for a chance to win a Yeti cooler, a Vespa, something like much larger, a Bose speaker. I mean, those are all like real examples that are very, I hate to use the term overused, but overused. I mean, it's very common in, at a HIMSS conference, at a healthcare conference. Our agency has been known to give away cups or phone chargers, pop sockets. So we're not exempt from the Chotski Club also. But, I think there's a time and a place. And I really think some companies think that these are the end all be all and that they really make a difference in driving traffic to their HIMSS booth. And they don't. Attendees that are coming by your booth at HIMSS are not going to remember that you gave them a notepad. Maybe it'll sit on their desk. Maybe they'll pull it out. But if they're not a real prospect, then that notepad isn't going to sell them. Right.
And that's why I'm just going to stick with my original case and giveaways, tchotchkes, they're overrated. Spend your dollars elsewhere. There's a better use of your marketing dollars. Again, we say, you can add your stuff to the pile of giveaways, but again, spend that money on, maybe it's even some, as we're going to get into a little bit, maybe it's more of your pre-conference promotion stuff too. Maybe that's where you should be spending your dollars. But again, when it comes to the show, your marketing materials, your booth, that costs a lot of money. And I think it's probably a better use of your time to spend your conference marketing dollars, that are not plentiful for most companies. You should spend them elsewhere wisely.
Yeah. So, I mean, Tom, what's your take on the pricier giveaways? Like a Swell water bottle and you keep those kind of hidden away for your serious prospects. I mean, is that, a good gesture, or is that something that companies probably don't care about?
Yeah, I think, at the end of the day, I think I really don't think if it's something that maybe would be memorable, but I think that some of the bigger stuff, people have this stuff, right? I mean, I think, in my opinion, people, not that everyone in America is walking around with a Yeti cooler, but I think that it's more common than you see. So it's not a unique giveaway, and we're not going to be giving away something like iPads or an Apple Watch or something like that people go, oh geez, I don't have one of those. And you're right, they do, they could. So I think even what we might consider the bigger prizes that cost, I think, a lot of money per item, they're not unique enough, and it's going to have your company brand on it. And again, I think in some instances it works, maybe, but maybe not at events is what I would think for that. But I think it's not a unique product anymore.
Yeah, I almost feel like, all of these are very commonplace, and the memorable ones, like you said, are something that's very personalized. It's like they put thought into it. It's unique. It's something that they didn't think about, but you don't see that very often. But if we don't have tchotchkes, what are we going to put on the table?
A picture of Tom and Jen, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, a framed autographed picture of Tom and Jen. If that doesn't get you the leads you want, then why are you at the show?
Yeah. If you're looking to drive some serious booth traffic, all you need is Tom Testa at your booth.
That's it.
Signing autographs.
I will happily be your booth babe for a day.
Shaking hands and kissing babies.
That's it. That's what I do.
Okay, Tom. So now that we've established that you hate tchotchkes and want to throw them all in the garbage and ban them from every event in the future, let's get into something that I really see as underused and that not a lot of companies excel at or do very well, but that really makes a difference when it comes to their event marketing, and that's pre-show promotion, pre-show prep, the work that actually happens before you even set foot to the conference floor.
Underused.
Yep, pretty important. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's more important than what happens when you're there. But, you're spending tens of thousands of dollars on the booth space, design, travel, shipping, receptions, your sponsorships. I mean, everything that goes into a show. Most companies say, well, I've spent this but if I get just one client out of this, it'll all be worth it. But some products, that's very true. But some products, it might take 10 sales for that to kind of even out. But,
right.
And you really, getting that one, depending on your sales cycle and your lead time, making sure that you do get one, hopefully more than one sale is really important. And, you can't just kind of sit at your booth and wait for people to come to you, because, the people that are walking by or, HIMSS is such a huge show in that 1,400 exhibitors every year. It's very easy to get lost in the sea of booths. And, there's only so much time. Attendees are going to sessions, they're in meetings, they're connecting with their colleagues, they're at events. Even the ones that have the best intentions of coming by your booth, sometimes it happens where they don't, like they run out of time. I mean, things definitely happen. So really making sure pre-show outreach by your marketing team, your sales team is incredibly important and really makes a difference for a company's event marketing.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think, that's a big part of the pre-show strategy, pre-promotion strategy. A lot of folks are, some of these shows like HIMSS, for example, they make some lists available, whether it's not only the exhibitor list, but also, if you're an exhibitor, of course, they're not just going to give it to just any Joe off the street, but they'll give you an exhibitor list, they'll give you media lists. So you can actually try and plan ahead as best you can. I think that's huge because, like you said, folks are there not just to see other vendors. They're there to also take part in some of these educational sessions that are taking place throughout the whole show. So their time it's important and it needs to be well spent. So I think even trying to get ahead of the game and reaching out to some of these prospects, or in our case, as an agency, we're always out there at shows like HIMSS trying to book a couple dozen media interviews, right? So again, that's a big part of it as well. And getting that kind of media list, that pre-show list that we can reach out to, book some meetings ahead of time. It all goes towards that event strategy.
Yeah, so definitely for any company, I think making the most of the time that you're at HIMSS and outreaching, your sales team, reaching out to, like you said, these prospects ahead of time, these attendees, and letting them know, what they're looking to discuss and, how they can then help solve some of the problems that, these physicians or hospitals or healthcare organizations are dealing with, and how their product actually fits those needs. And, really booking those sales meetings ahead of time because, like I said, HIMSS is crazy, it's hectic. So you really want to make sure that your sales team is invested in having a full slate of meetings scheduled before they're even stepping on the show floor.
And yeah, Jen, when it comes to an event, especially like HIMSS, you're really going to be booked all day. And that's why I think making sure, and there's a difference between media interviews and sales leads and even just some other stuff that deals with even partnerships, things like that. A lot of meetings that do take place at the larger shows.
Yeah. So, my take is that pre-show prep is really important. It's underused, but a lot of companies do it, but probably not to the fullest extent that, some companies do it really well, but I think there's a lot of times room for improvement in making sure that they're truly filling those sales team schedules. Their PR department or agency is working with the media, lining up interviews, talking to relevant press about what's going on in the industry and their take and any new product announcements or industry announcements. So that really all of that is kind of promoted. You've got email campaigns, direct mail, postcards, banners, advertising, sponsorships, social media. There's a lot that should be happening before the show in just kind of one comprehensive package, but don't know that every company out there is really doing that. And it's unfortunate because, HIMSS is just so overwhelming in, that show floor, especially for attendees, for first-time attendees. It's just, if you're not in somebody's schedule before, they even arrive at HIMSS, then you're probably not getting in their schedule.
So Jen, in terms of pre-show prep, we talked a lot about the media lists, right? Grabbing hold of those media lists ahead of time to set up your meetings. But aside from that earned media side, there's also a lot of sponsorship opportunities with media at these shows, HIMSS being one of them. For example, Healthcare Now Radio, they offer some great options for clients. They offer their pop-up studios where they're going to just come on over to your booth. They're going to talk about a very relevant topic and then get some added visibility and help drive traffic to your booth. So there's things like the pop-up videos for HIMSS, for Healthcare Now Radio. And then there's also HIMSS themselves, the HIMSS publications. They do a lot of promotional stuff as well, sponsorship opportunities. One being, as we saw last year, I know, Jen, a couple of our clients experienced it, was HIMSS TV. So that was a great option too. Not only was it something where the editors for HIMSS TV were coming by booths, but they were then, getting some extra visibility. Because I think seeing those cameras there too, I know it's kind of funny to say, but seeing those video cameras there, it kind of drives buzz. It generates buzz. Hey, what's going on over there?
Yeah, it's definitely, intriguing when you're walking by and just, what's going on at that booth? What are they doing? And why are they so special? It kind of goes back to filling that schedule. You really want to make the most of the time that you have there and having packed media, back-to-back media interviews, but these sponsorship opportunities, where you're doing these pop-up studios or other kind of promotional videos, those type of opportunities are really great. You definitely have to look into those ahead of time, kind of line up and plan out everything that's, your executive's time and plan for these ahead of time.
There's pricing, there's logistic. These are first come, first serve, some of them too. So, you can't expect to show up at the show floor and have this happen.
Yeah, these are great opportunities. Often they're limited. So, it really has to be something that is a part of your pre-show prep for your company and something that's really well thought out and planned with your executives and the talking points and what you really want to cover during these interviews and these pop-up studios or, HIMSS TV videos or, customer testimonials, whatever it may be. There's a lot of logistics that go into it, but I think it's definitely very valuable. And I think we have more clients that are requesting these type of out of the box, almost just different sponsorships and promotional methods for, trade shows, HIMSS and NGMA or, any of the other kind of trade shows. It's just becoming a more popular option.
Right. And, something, Jen, I think is might even go a little bit underused when it comes to this stuff. The marketing part of it too, or the social media aspect, because as these videos are taking place, there's opportunities for marketers or, people on hand at the booth to take photos and share that on social media to help generate even more buzz. So I think that's another component to this that should also be considered and be ready for if you're going to engage in even just straight up earned media opportunities as well as sponsored media opportunities.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think just because you build a booth doesn't mean attendees are going to come and see it. So you really have to do a lot of work for the pre-show promotion so that, you don't have your booth reps just standing around saying, floor traffic's terrible this year and not doing anything about it. You want to keep those schedules busy.
Right. Well, you killed my theme because I was ready to name one of our clients' booth the Field of Dreams, but apparently not, right? Because it doesn't work.
That's a good one. Yeah, don't rule it out just yet. Just hold on to that one.
But you're right, though. I mean, you made a good point. I mean, you can have this awesome looking booth. It can be tremendous on the marketing side, the look, the feel, everything, but people still got to know you're there.
I know it's February and HIMSS is right around the corner, so don't start scrambling and freaking out right now that you haven't done all of these things. We're just trying to give you some helpful tips, and maybe if it's not for HIMSS, then it's part of your future trade show strategies, and you're not alone in that. It's funny, but our agency sees the most new client signups towards the end of the year, early January, as companies are coming to us in a panic. Help us! We need pre-HIMSS prep. We've got to get ready for this big trade show, and it's almost too late to do everything at that point. But we work hard at playing catch up and doing what we can do.
There's always something you can do leading up to an event it's never too late to start your pre-show prep.
Yeah, it's never too late to start your pre-show prep.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. And you're right. Again, we go back to time is valuable. Again, it's good stuff when it comes to pre-show prep. Like you said, you gave us some real valuable insight there, and I hope a lot of our listeners, and also it'd be great to maybe even hear from them too. If our listeners do have any good insight, any feedback onto regarding pre-show prep or even giveaways, we'd love to hear from you too. So they can always reach out to us.
Clinicians Corner.
Right. Well, a lot of what we say, throughout all of our shows is really good for both vendors, associations, consultants, and marketers. But, in a lot of cases, it's also good for medical practices, hospitals, and other providers that are looking to market their business. Like when you're thinking about event marketing, I think some of the same tips apply for clinicians that are attending HIMSS. Listen up. I mean, you have to prep too. You got to have your big backpack for all the chopskis.
Right.
Totally kidding. But while grabbing a free stuffed animal for your kid is great, I mean, remember, like we kind of said, like your time especially is more valuable. So if you're really not serious about considering an exhibitor services, then I wouldn't even bother. Like, don't even, just keep going. Don't even kind of engage in that. You'll get all the follow-up. Hopefully you'll get follow-up if the marketers or the company's doing their job right. They'll be hounding you post-show. And
right.
If you don't have time for that and you're not interested, then it's really not worth throwing your business card in a fishbowl to win an iPad. Or maybe it is. I mean, if you happen to need an extra iPad, the chances.
Right. I mean, you can stuff that ballot, drop a ton of your cards in there, and heighten your chances of getting that free iPad. But yeah, no, you're right, Jennifer. These events they're amazing info gathering sessions. So I think the best advice we can give these clinicians who do attend shows like HIMSS is do your pre-show prep. Identify, because again, we keep saying it over and over and over again, time is valuable. So identify exactly the exhibitors you want to meet up with. There are certainly those that make way more sense that for you, and so you should identify them ahead of time. Map out your schedule. So you know who to hit and what's important to you, because again, this is a show where there are so many exhibitors. I mean, you can just get lost in the sea of exhibitors. So with just thinking you can show up on the ground and think you're going to talk to a bunch of people, it can be very overwhelming. So again, doing your pre-show prep is huge. Identify partnerships, because again, you have to get on their schedules as well. As much as they want to talk to you, if you really want to have some of those more strategic conversations with some of these vendors, that's why mapping them out ahead of time, maybe even a nice little outreach ahead of time is possible too. Because if you're attending the event, you might be able to get some pre-show list like we talked about earlier, and you might get some contact info, and you could say, hey, I'm going to be attending HIMSS too. Would love to set up 2 minutes of your time to talk with you, because I think you have a great product. I think it's something that would be great for my practice, and would love to know more. And you know what? They're certainly not going to turn you down. It's a sales lead.
Yeah, I mean, I think HIMSS is great, or any event is really great for that face-to-face time, that face-to-face networking. Yeah. Those connections that are being made. It's such a valuable place for all of that. So,
Yep. Lots of demos are taking place, right? So, and I think that's a great thing to experience too. So some folks, even again, if they're exhibiting, a lot of folks like to also promote what's going to be happening at their booth, so you can have a good idea of if they're going to be doing a demo, if they're going to be even if they're going to have a speaker there, right?
On Testa, signing autographs.
You get me at your booth.
Don't miss that opportunity.
That's it. That is it. So yeah, I think there's a lot of ways clinicians can prep before to really have a targeted show strategy.
I agree.
Inbox with Adrian.
All right, it's time for another segment with our good friend Adrian. Adrian, what do you got for us this time?
Hey, Tom. Hey, Jen. Yeah, I'm excited to be back for the second episode of Inbox with Adrian. So this week's question is, Dear Adrian, my CEO wants to start his own Twitter account. Is this a good strategy, or should we keep our sole focus on building our company account? I think absolutely your CEO should start his own Twitter account. People love to think that they are getting a personal experience, and there's nothing more personal than hearing from the person at the top. His 2 cents of what he thinks about things that are going on around the market. So that's something that I think is very valuable, but you want to make it a collaborative thing. Some CEOs are very tech savvy, and they are already on Twitter and ready to run with it and streamline their content more towards the business, but some are not. Some don't even have a Twitter account yet. So that's where you want to have a good working partnership. You want to get with him or her and make
or her.
Yeah, or her, and make the content, make their Twitter content streamline with what's being said on the company page, and have them interject with what they have to say and what they think is important with what's going on right now.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Adrian. I think some CEOs, it's definitely right up their alley, and they're already reading the news and things related to their company and their industry and their market, and providing that perspective and that voice gives a more personal touch to the company. But it is kind of an endeavor, and it does take their time. So, making sure that your CEO is working well with the marketing team, or, has that collaborative relationship, I think would be important.
Yep, pretty important. Yeah, plus I think, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think sometimes people feel that hearing from a CEO is less kind of marketing speak, where sometimes hearing from, all the time from just the company handle, which has an array of stuff. They're promoting events, they're promoting new products, they're promoting a bunch of stuff, but I think it sounds less promotional sometimes when it comes from your CEO or the head of your organization on social media.
Definitely. I think it makes it seem more important. And like Jennifer said, just gives the personal touch that people seek these days. People love authenticity. And I think that is one way to get that across. So I think that wraps up this week's Inbox with Adrienne. Please email me at hello@anderson.com. Feel free to slide into my DMs on Twitter. I'll see you next time.
Well, I think that's all that we have time to talk about for this episode of Overrated and Underused. Thanks to our faithful ONU groupies for sticking through this one with us.
Yep.
We are sponsored by Anderson Interactive and can be heard weekdays at 10 a.m., 6 p.m., 2 a.m. on Healthcare Now Radio. And if you'd like to, email your Inbox with Adrienne questions to hello@andersoni.com. Or tweet us at Jen_Jennings, Tom_Testa, or Adrienne_Stoner. And you can follow the hashtag on Twitter, #OverUnderRadio. Thanks, everyone.
Good stuff.
Thanks for listening to the Overrated and Underused show with your hosts, experienced marketers Jen Jennings and Tom Testa, and special guest, Adrienne Stoner. Overrated and underused. The